Hello? Hello? Hello, I'm Dennis. Welcome to my show. Is it time? You'll excuse me while I get ready. Always a pleasure to receive visitors to my back areas. Now, I won't rub it on for too long. I really don't like to talk about myself, but you'd be amazed at what slips out when I'm drugging up for a show. Right. Earring, necklace, bracelets, military cross, tiara. All from a load of old queens. Except this. I got this from an old king. I was a performer most of my life. I did them all. I did the Pirates of Penzance. I did the Student Prince. I turned down the Dolly Sisters. That's how I got this. Mr. Churchill was looking for people who could conceal their true identity to join his special operations executive. Dropped behind enemy lines to engage in subversive activities. I said, I'm an expert in subversive activities, Ducky. Count me in. Growing up as a gay man, you can spend your whole life hiding who you are. Pretending to be something that you're not. I suppose they thought that was the perfect training to be a spy. You wouldn't believe Churchill could be so broad-minded. One of his own MPs got caught once servicing a guardsman on Clapham Common on the coldest night of the year. You know what Churchill said? Indecent activities at minus 10 degrees. Makes you proud to be British. Anyway, SOE wanted me. I was brought up in Belgium. I can speak French, German, Spanish, and English. My mother used to brag. He can speak 4 languages, you know. I can't say no in any one of them. When I was a boy, I learned how to operate a Morse code wireless system. Well, passed the time. While the other boys were chasing the girls, I was fiddling with my own knobs. So, they signed me up. Weapons, explosives, hard physical exercise, jumping out of planes. I said, you can stick that. I won't shoot anyone. I'm far too old to cope with physical activity. And I hate big bangs. Well, actually, I lied about that last one. I did do the parachute jumps, though. Well, I went up there in the plane. But I had to have a mate give me a shove. Oh, my training officer was not impressed. Should see the things they wrote in my file. He was only interested in the theatre and all that implies. Cheeky devil. Just because I liked to tipple and took a few sleeping tablets, he said I was a drug addict as well. Said I was a security risk, too. I suppose I do get a bit loose-lipped after I've had a few. But They provided whiskey and brandy throughout the training to keep up morale. They didn't want me to become chatty and friendly. Shouldn't have laid on free booze. I must say, I was always good for morale, though. Always ready with a song and a joke. Oh, there was one terrible day when 3 Danish operatives were at the very end of their training and went up for their final parachute jump. Only 2 of the chutes opened. The third man, he didn't stand a chance, of course. Well, that evening in the mess was awful. Sadness and hushed voices. My training officer said we should go from man to man and have a quiet word. I said, I know what to do. I'll go and do my spiel. Kiss me goodnight, Sergeant Major. Tuck me in my little wooden bed. We all love you, Sergeant Major. When we hear you bawling, show a leg. Don't forget to wake me in the morning and bring me round a nice hot cup of tea. Kiss me goodnight, Sergeant Major. Sergeant Major, be a mother to me. Kiss me goodnight, Sergeant Major. I'm sorry that I didn't quite keep mum. Don't yell like that, Sergeant Major. I'd hate to feel the rough side of your tongue. I don't mind to hear that I've been naughty. If you like, then put me across your knee. Don't spare the rod, Sergeant Major. Sergeant Major, be a daddy to me. They were so desperate for wireless operators, they had to take me. I was passed out. Through the training course, I mean. And I was given a right good rank. No, rank. I became Major Rake. I boarded this big, rough trawler, and I was told that the captain would see me in my quarters, in my cabin, later. But I was quaking, hoping that this captain wouldn't mind having me on board his ship. The door opened, and I heard, yoo-hoo! The captain was an ex-chorus boy from Mercenary Mary, a play I'd been in. I played the lead, of course. When we reached the coast of southern France, I had to paddle myself ashore in a rubber dinghy when we got to shallow waters. I must admit to being very frightened. I remembered something the trawler captain had said when I'd confessed to my fears. He said,
"It must be all right in the third act, otherwise no one will pay to see it."
Well, that gave me the courage to carry on. And in a couple of hours, I finally reached the shore.
Who goes there? What's in his suitcase?
Oh, you got me, sir. I've been stealing antiques from a rich family. They won't miss them. Unlike us, they're not suffering from the hardships of the war, and I already have a buyer. Perhaps I could give you your share now?
So, I was posted to occupied Paris to operate my wireless for the resistance. We were told to find a new identity, to get a job, to blend in. So, I became a drag queen at the Chez Ma Tante, entertaining the Nazi officers. My commanding officer, she nearly had a heart attack. She said, "You can't go around looking like that. You'll get picked up by the German officers." And I did. Repeatedly. That's how I met Max. He was a German officer. Oh, I know they were brutes, but... oh, they did look good in those uniforms. Made by a designer called... Hugo Boss. Wonder what ever became of him. Max wasn't like the other Nazi officers. Hated Hitler. He said, "Never trust a man with facial hair."
As a performer, you can have some audiences that are good and some audiences that are not so good. Imagine trying to entertain a crowd of Nazi officers. We're all scared of dying up here. That could have actually happened. Especially if I'd sung what I wanted to sing.
I would like to hold you tight with my hands around your neck. Why, oh, why would that be right? I was trained by SOE, so what the heck? Loosen your lips and close your eyes. We'll sink your ships and paralyze you. See the RAF. Way up in the blue. See, I think I see a cookie bomb. And when it falls, I hope it falls on you. I can see. I can see you blown to smithereens. SOEEE, they teach me very much, not just to get up and shake my ass. Our kitchen has no vermin, they're exploding rats. And by the way, there's poison in your glass. I don't like you very much. I think you're trash. You pretend you Nazis are all big and butch, but Hitler, he can't grow a real mustache. Loosen your lips and close your eyes. We'll sink your ships and paralyze you. See the RAF. Way up in the blue. See, I think I see a cookie bomb. And when it falls, I hope it falls on you. I can see. I can see you blown to smithereens. Well, thank goodness I had Max there. It made things more bearable and not quite so lonely. Unfortunately, that interlude was not to last. I'd been warned that my identity card was screaming out that it was a fake, but I didn't have any way of getting a good one. I was picked up by a patrol while travelling one day and taken to a police station. I knew I was in trouble, and I figured I'd be better off with no identity card rather than a forged one. So I asked if I could use the bathroom. Once inside, I took my identity card and I ripped it into little pieces and dropped them down the toilet. Now, I had forgotten that French plumbing is about as effective as French marriage vows. I flushed. I flushed a second time. A third time. A fourth, and the pieces were still floating in the water.
Why are you taking so long in there?
I felt like saying it was the horse meat galloping through me, but I kept quiet. was nothing else for it. So I fished the pieces out of the toilet, and I with no identity card, I was taken for interrogation. The young Nazi who questioned me was particularly brutish. He stabbed hard on my right foot, breaking all the bones. I've got a silver plate in there now, holding it all together. I ate my dinner off paper plates, and I've got a silver plate in my foot. He knocked a few teeth out as well for good measure, swine. They wouldn't believe that I was just a performer. Perhaps I should have offered to sing for them. Hitler has only got one ball, the other is in the Albert Hall. Maybe not. I was sentenced to death by firing squad. Oh, can you imagine?
Any last requests?
Well, an old age would be lovely, Ducky.
Luckily, the prison priest helped me to escape. In the exercise yard, there were 3 large swill bins. He created a diversion while I jumped into one. Oh, smelled like an ogre's jockstrap in there. The priest whispered to me, "God go with you." I know God moves in mysterious ways, but I can't see him moving around in here. Luckily, the swill only came up to my chin until the truck arrived to take the bins away. As the bins were loaded onto the truck, I was literally drowning in rotting food and goodness knows what else. I don't know how long I was out for, but I awoke to 2 French policemen giving me the kiss of life. Bloody typical, I'd be drenched in crap when I had 2 young men jumping all over me. They took me to a local police station, where, luckily, the chief of police was very sympathetic. He wanted to be of use to the Allies. I told him if I could contact Virginia Hall, she could get me back to London and out of danger and recruit him into the resistance. I had to stay in his custody until he could find safe passage back to Lyon. And he said I'd be better off recovering in a local hospital, so had me admitted with a stomach complaint. Actually, after all I'd been through, that wasn't very far from the truth. Oh. I was taken care of by armed Nazi nuns, or the Sisters of No Mercy, as I call them. It wasn't easy to goose-step in a nun's habit, but they did their best. Now, I'd heard that in Lyon there was a lady working in a department store who could communicate with Virginia Hall. So, as soon as I got there, I sought her out. I eventually found her in ladies' knickers. No, not literally, of course. She was working in the lingerie department. Now, obviously, this was somewhere I had no business being. My plan had been to slip her a note as I bought something. So I went to the counter and I randomly picked up the first thing that came to hand. It was a brassiere! I was so embarrassed. I clumsily dropped the thing like a hot brick, and when I went to pick it up again, several others got attached, and I ended up showering the floor around my feet with the damn things. A woman standing nearby was tittering at my boob. Oh la la, monsieur! She won't be wearing them on her feet. Oh, I could have died.
But I had the presence of mind to hand over the note as I placed the scanties back on the counter. Virginia Hall was by now one of the Nazis' most wanted secret agents. She was known as the Limping Lady because she'd lost part of her leg during a hunting accident. She called her artificial leg Cuthbert. When she was escaping to Spain, she radioed to London, apologising for being slow, explaining that Cuthbert was giving her trouble. She received the reply, I told Virginia what had happened to me, and she told me that she could get me out of the country that night. But I really felt that this police chief could be hugely useful, and I wanted to return to him and set that up. Oh, I know it was risky, but I'd given my word as an Englishman. Virginia agreed and allowed me to meet up with him. Unfortunately, the authorities had finally realised that I was supposed to be in this police chief's custody, and so they demanded that I was sent to a prison. There were many in Vichy France who were sympathetic to the Allied cause, and fortunately, the commandant of this prison was one of them. 2 British servicemen who were imprisoned with me were also sentenced to death. The commandant allowed me to escape on the proviso that I took them with me. We were given instructions to go to the Dutch embassy, where we'd be concealed and then helped to escape. Oh, the Dutch were very sympathetic, of course. But they refused to allow us into their embassy, and so they arranged for us to stay in a safe house. A brothel! I'd struggled in the lingerie department, so you can imagine how I felt about this. Oh, the other 2, they were delighted, of course.
Oh, ma brassiere.
The girls were pleasant enough and brought out salad rolls for us. Hope they washed their hands before they made them. After we'd laid low for a while, we left there and made our way across the Pyrenees until we could make contact with the Spanish authorities. Run, Dennis, run, run, run. Get me away from those nuns, nuns, nuns. They seem queer with dirty habits, so I hear. That's where they're hiding their guns, guns, guns. Run, Dennis, run, run, run. I'm not that scared of the Hun, Hun, Hun. I have no fear, except when holding a brassiere. I won't give the Nazis their fun, fun, fun. Run, Dennis, run, run, run. Hiding in brothels ain't fun, fun, fun. Girls may try it with those other guys, but Dennis won't sample your buns, buns, buns. Run, Virginia, run, run, run. Even though legs you have one. As Nazis near, Cuthbert will get you clear. So run, Virginia, run, Dennis, run, run, run. Run, Virginia, run, Dennis, run, run, run. Do you believe in love at first sight? I didn't. Lust at first sight. Quick kiss and a cuddle behind the bandstand at first sight. And then I met Alexander Sokolovsky. We were both being held in this concentration camp called Miranda. I said with a name like that, it's all camp and no concentration. Our eyes met across a crowded exercise yard, and we both knew from the moment that we looked at each other that we had to be together. It was a Spanish camp where you waited to be sent back to Britain. He was released quite quickly, but they held on to me. It turns out I was dead, according to British intelligence. British intelligence. An oxymoron if ever there was one. I mean, I know I was looking rough, but saying I was dead was a bit much. I had to prove that I was me. So, I told them a few stories about my well-documented affair with a Greek prince. Oh. Once their hair had stopped curling, they checked it out, and they realized couldn't be anybody else. During this time, I met a Nancy. The most important Nancy of my life. Nancy Wake was the bravest person I ever met. She was being sent to France to coordinate the resistance for the D-Day landings. And, as usual, they were rather short of wireless operators, and I didn't need much persuading to become a Nancy boy, because Alex had been posted there as well. So now we were both in occupied France. Unfortunately, not in the same part. Alex was heading up a small resistance group, and, luckily for me, his wireless operator got arrested. And Nancy said I could go to him for a few days to operate his wireless. Oh, we had a wonderful time. After sending the messages, we swam in a beautiful lake, sunbathed, made love on the banks. Oh, bliss. The following day, we were being driven to a rendezvous when we were stopped by a German patrol. Alex's papers caused no comment, but there was some doubt in the Nazis' minds about mine and the driver's. Alex said he was taking me for questioning. As we drove off, Alex said he was worried. He didn't feel that we'd convinced the patrol at all. Suddenly, a hail of bullets cut through the side of the car, and Alex cried out, "Step on it!" As we sped off, I suddenly realized that Alex had been hurt badly. The blood flowed out of him like a great river. I tried to stuff a scarf into his shirt to stem the flow. He was muttering and trying to talk. Something about his family, I think. And then he fell unconscious. I held him. And I held him. But he was cut almost in half. And by the time we finally stopped, he was dead. I loved him more than I've ever loved anyone. Oh, the war took no notice of what was happening to us personally, and I was still urgently needed to play my part in it. That was the one thing that stopped me from going mad with grief. After several months, I was able to report back to London
But the boys in the resistance were extremely well equipped. Nancy and I worked well together as a team. We only fell out the once. We discovered a small group of resistance fighters in a village who were torturing policemen. They'd stripped 2 men naked, and they were prodding at their privates with hot irons. I resisted the temptation to say I knew some people who pay good money for that, and I refused to operate my wireless for animals like them. Nancy said I should think of the bigger picture. But I never felt the rough side of Nancy's tongue before, and it wasn't very pleasant. One time, Nancy and the resistance had organized this big raid against the Nazis. Now, Nancy knew how I felt about big bangs, so I was put in charge of a makeshift hospital to attend to the wounded. And the only problem was, we very soon ran out of medicinal alcohol, which was needed to sterilize the wounds. Nancy couldn't understand where it had all gone, until I told her that I couldn't stand the sight of blood, as well as big bangs. I'd never have coped sober.
I'm falling down the wunk again. Can't walk in these shoes. A pint of gin or 2 just don't help it. Fill up my mug again. A whiskey, rum or 2. Even Mr. Sheen will do. I'll still drink it. If you've seen my movies or ever heard me sing, you'll understand why I'm knocking back the gin. Falling in love again with my languid, sleepy look. It's all the pills I took. I can't help it.
Luckily, I'd sobered up by the time the war ended, mainly because we ran out of alcohol. Our resistance groups pushed the Nazis back and fought them so successfully that when the Allied armies invaded on D-Day, they gave the Nazis a damn good licking, and you can't beat that. I was just glad all the banging had stopped. All those guns and tanks and planes. I said to Nancy I was in constant fear of being bombed by the Fockers. She said, "Don't you mean the Messerschmitts?" I said, "I know what I'm talking about, Ducky." When the war ended, we were all sent home, back to normality. Not that there was ever anything normal about my life. And of course, I went back to a bit of performing. It certainly wasn't plain sailing after the war. But we hoped that one day things would get better. Well, time for my finale. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye.
Cheerio, here I go on my way. Wish me luck, off to France I must fly. They need me there, they don't care that I'm gay. With a big wireless set and a shampoo and set, just watch our resistance rise. Till we kick Nazi ass, you and I. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. We knew we'd win with Vera Lynn on our side. From Parisian ball to Albert Hall I will glide. As I recall, Hitler's ball is inside. Their victory was brief when they punched out my teeth, crushed my foot, but watch me fly to the dance now that France is unoccupied. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Yes, for me the SOE was my high. Though many brave people did die, let's remember each November with pride. Make the victory sign right up Hitler's behind as the Nazis run away. Now with Europe we'll always be combined. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye.
It's not been a bad life, really. That trawler captain was right. It was all right in the third act.